I wanted to say a rom-com. I didn't really realise Wood Sif and Dior did well. Perhaps it isn't a rom-com as such, but anyway, I was thinking about that because what I thought I would talk to the stand-up philosopher about. That's another guy's. If you on Twitter, stand-up thought would be something philosophical about what a university is, with the background, the setting of a ruin, a fortress university. Sometime in the future, it's a sort of science fiction about the future. The reason for this is that I don't think the universities are putting all their energy or all their resource into online platforms at the moment. So FutureLearn doesn't get the sort of backing it might do. I know I'm going a little bit off where the drama hour has been in the past, but if you listen to the Wild Show coming up, we've recently been to Bet and we'll discuss that later on. So there's a sort of reality behind this. Just to sort of dwell on the reality for a little bit, Peter Horrocks, a lecturer at Durham a couple of years ago now, about the Fortress University, talking about how it could be a lot more, universities could be a lot more open if they were online, and various advantages of that. But the policy of investing in FutureLearn was criticised inside the Open University, and he did resign. So the ideas in that lecture, I think, were rejected at the time anyway, but maybe they will be returned to. So FutureLearn is now half owned by a job site, Seek, based in Australia, which I just find surprising. I think there might have been other UK universities who would have invested, but we don't know what's going on. It may still turn out to be just a way of burning up money, but on the other hand, maybe platforms have got a viable future. Certainly Bet seemed a very solid event, and there were quite a lot of universities there, and FutureLearn was there as well on quite a small stand. I think they were just looking for other people to work with. I don't think they're promoting the idea anymore, which maybe means they're confident it's got a dynamic to it. Anyway, I thought, well, why be quite as gloomy as the Fortress University all in ruins? Maybe some sort of architecture is still valid. Just sort of looking for proportion or options. I think drama or fiction can do that. I shall talk about this next week and see what the stand-up philosopher would make of it, or how this would work as storytelling. Because I do think there's too much money being spent on student accommodation. That just does seem to be the case. Going back to reality, we'll talk about this on the Wild Show as well. But it just seems out of proportion, and leaving that aside, if you imagine some sort of blend, because nobody's really saying all education will move online and there's no need for schools or universities, just forget about it. People are talking about some form of blended learning, and so taking the St Luke's campus, just because it's closest to where I live, and thinking about the cafe in Waitrose, could be any sort of cafe, as another sort of study venue maybe, and the student accommodation which is going to be all around it. I think the ambulance is going to go, which, by the way, I mean, I'm sure they can get an ambulance to Hebbetry from wherever it's going to be from, but it's quite a good idea to have ambulances somewhere. But anyway, student accommodation is all being built, so maybe in the future there's some sort of combination of distance and actual courses learning which would involve lots of people moving about. So they'd only be in Exeter or on some other campus 2 weeks in every 3 months, or every other weekend, or some sort of variation on online and reality. So I think maybe this will work, because the reality of the storyteller is being very, very mobile. They might be in Exeter in some sort of sense, or they may be imbued for the winter. And obviously Love Struck, I don't know what Love Struck's going to be about. It's on the 8th, St Catherine's Priory. But I'm sure we'll learn next week. We will be told what that's about. But it might involve a whole series of relationships of people who only meet occasionally in real space, but spend a lot of time online. I don't know quite how it would work, but that would just be an alternative future for where the Fortress University is going to go. I think, by the way, just back to reality, I think the St Luke's is slightly going in a fortress direction, because there is a turnstile on the library now. You can go to the library on the other campus, but I think that one is sort of shut off to casual passers-by. Anyway, next week I shall start raving about all this sort of thing to the stand-up philosopher, and it will be transformed into fiction, which is what this show is all about. This next track is perhaps from the Semitones.